Have you ever wondered whether nature exists only to serve humans? Environmental ethics explores this important question. It asks how we should treat forest, river, animal, and the entire natural world. Instead of focusing only on people, it also considers what we owe to nature itself. For a long time, many people believed that nature was mainly a resource. Forests provided food, rivers supplied water, and animals gave food and clothing. In this view, nature was valuable because it helped humans survive and improve their lives. This idea is called nature as a means. Here, nature is treated as a tool for achieving human goals. Protecting the environment is important, but mostly because a healthy environment supports human health, economic growth, and future generations. However, environmental ethics introduce another powerful idea. It asks whether nature has value even when it is not useful to us. Should we protect a forest simply because it exists, even if no one profits from it? This is known as nature as an end. According to this view, nature has intrinsic value. Trees, river, mountain, and wildlife deserve respect, not just because they benefit humans, but because they have worth in themselves. The difference between these two ideas shape many environmental debates. Should a forest be cut down for economic development, or should it remain untouched because it has its own value? Environmental ethics help us think carefully about such difficult choices. One of the most influential thinkers in environmental ethics was Aldo Leopold. He believed that people should stop seeing themselves as a ruler of nature. Instead, humans should recognize that they are members of a much larger ecological community. Leopold called this idea the land ethics. He argued that ethics should not be limited to relationship between people. It should also include our relationship with land, plants, animals, soil, and water, because all of them are connected. According to Leopold, the word land means much more than soil. It includes the entire ecosystem: forest, river, wildlife, insect, plants, and the natural processes that keep life going. Every part plays an important role in maintaining ecological balance. Leopold believed that humans are not separate from nature. We are one part of a larger living system. When we damage the environment, we also weaken the natural community that support our own lives. He proposed a simple moral guideline: an action is right if it is help preserve the integrity, stability, and beauty of the natural community. If it destroys these qualities, then that action is morally wrong. This idea changed the way many people thought about conservation. Instead of protecting only resources that benefit humans, Leopold encouraged people to care for the health of the entire ecosystem, including species that may seem unimportant. Imagine a wetland filled with birds, insects, fish, and plants. Some people might see it as empty land, ready for construction, but Leopold would say that the wetland has its own ecological values and deserves protection as a part of Earth's living community. Leopold's land ethics was remind us that every species has a role. Even creatures that seem small or insignificant help maintain the balance of nature. Removing one part can affect the entire ecosystem in unexpected ways. Leopold's ideas inspired later environmental thinkers to look beyond human interest. Among them was Arne Naess, who developed a philosophy called deep ecology. This approach took respect for nature even further. Arne Naess believed that many environmental problems exist because humans think they are more important than the rest of nature. He argued that this attitude encourage overuse of natural resource and harm the environment. Naess called his philosophy deep ecology because it looked beyond surface level solution. Instead of asking only how to reduce pollution, it asks a deeper question. Why do humans believe they have the right to dominate nature? Deep ecology teaches that every living being has intrinsic value. Animal, planet, insect, and even tiny organism deserve respect, whether or not they are useful to human. Their value does not depend on human need. According to Naess, humans are just one species among many. We are not master of the earth, but member of a vast web of life. Every living thing is connected, and the well-being of one affects the well-being of others. This idea challenges the belief that economic growth should always come first. Deep ecology argues that protecting ecosystem is not just a practical choice. It is also a moral responsibility because nature has value in itself. Naess also encouraged people to live more simply. He believed that reducing unnecessary consumption helps protect natural resources and allow others. A simpler lifestyle can benefit both people and the planet. Deep ecology supports biodiversity, which means protecting the rich variety of living organisms on Earth. Different species contribute to healthy ecosystem, making nature stronger, more balanced, and better able to survive change. For example, imagine an ancient forest. Deep ecology would not protect it only because it provides oxygen or timber. It would protect the forest because the trees, animals, plants, and microorganisms all have their own right to exist. Although some people consider deep ecology too demanding, its central message remains powerful. Humans should develop a respectful relationship with nature instead of treating it as something to control or exploit. While deep ecology focuses on all forms of life, another philosopher turned attention to the moral treatment of animals. That philosopher was Peter Singer, whose work transformed the modern discussion of animal rights. Peter Singer argued that the ability to suffer is what matters morally. If an animal can feel pain or experience pleasure, then its interest deserves serious consideration, just like the interest of humans. Singer challenged the idea that humans should always come first simply because they belong to the human species. He called this unfair attitude Speciesism, meaning discrimination based only on species membership. To understand Speciesism, think about judging someone's worth only because they belong to a certain group. Singer argued that ignoring an animal's suffering simply because it is not human is morally similar to other forms of unjust discrimination. According to Singer, animals should not suffer unnecessarily for food, entertainment, scientific experiment, or other human purpose. Whenever possible, we should choose action that reduce suffering and promote the well-being of all sentient beings. Singer ideas encourage people to think more carefully about their everyday choice and how those choices affect animals. His work continues to shape modern debate about animal rights, ethical responsibility, and our relationship with other living beings. Singer's approach is based on a moral theory called Utilitarianism. According to this view, the best action is the one that creates the greatest overall well-being and cause least amount of suffering for everyone affected. When this idea is applied to animals, their pain and happiness must also be counted. If an animal can suffer, its suffering should not be ignored simply because it is not a human being. This does not mean that human and animal are identical in every way. Singer argued that different beings have different abilities and needs. However, the basic interest in avoiding unnecessary pain deserves equal moral consideration. For example, if a medical experiment causes severe suffering to animals without producing meaningful benefit, Singer would argue that such an experiment is morally difficult to justify. The suffering must always be taken seriously. Singer's ideas have influenced discussion about factory farming, animal testing, wildlife conservation, and the use of animals in entertainment. His work encouraged people to examine whether these practices are ethically acceptable. Although not everyone agree with Singer's conclusion, his arguments have changed the way many people think about animals. Today, concern about animal welfare and ethical treatment are an important part of environmental ethics. Now we can compare the three major perspectives. Aldo Leopold focused on protecting the health of the entire ecosystem. Arne Naess argued that all living beings have intrinsic value. Peter Singer emphasized reducing the suffering of sentient animals. Despite their differences, these thinkers share important ideas. Humans are not the only beings that deserve moral consideration. Nature and other living creatures also matter in ethical decision making. Together, these ideas broaden the meaning of ethics. Instead of asking only what is good for human, environmental ethics also asks what is good for ecosystem, animal, and the living world as whole. This wider perspective encourages people to make thoughtful choices about forests, river, wildlife, pollution, and natural resources. It reminds us that our actions affect not only ourselves but also countless other forms of life on earth. If you are still watching, I hope you are finding this content useful. Please like and share this video, subscribe to the channel and share your thought in the comment. Your support motivates me to create even more content like this.